I've sat with Busta Rhymes and Ashley Walters, and they talk a lot about their fathers, and they also talk about the absence of male role models, often for young black men, and how the impact of that. I've actually come to learn the impact of that by having these conversations over and over with black men that didn't have a male role model in their life that could stop them from going down that path. And I don't think it's talked about enough. Because I've learned about it from Busta Rhymes and from Ashley Walters from Top Boy. And it's really made me think that there's something we need to think more of in society, especially for people that have sort of single parents or have an absent father or an emotionally absent father. I think we could save a lot of downstream consequences with mental health, crime, and all of those things if we thought more about the importance of male role models.
Oh yeah, I mean, listen, I had a male role model in my father, but the problem with my father was he wasn't practicing what he was preaching. So, you have to be about actions. You can't just be about words and lip service. People have to see you and see that you're, a living, walking example of what it is that you're telling others. Like, I didn't even believe that men could be faithful to their women until I started seeing it from people that I actually knew. Like, it's one thing for somebody to tell you they are, but like, let's just say, you're out and about at a television shoot, and you're out of town, right? And you and this person or these people are hanging around after the shoot, and their wife is nowhere in sight, and they got every opportunity to do the wrong thing, but they're like, nah, I'm going back to my room. You know what I'm saying? I love them. I'm gotta get home to my wife. Like, or nah. And then that's when you strike up conversations like, really? Like, and then like, nah, I'm faithful. You know what I'm saying? Like, literally, like those are the conversations. Like, nah, I'm faithful. I don't get down like that. And you're like, oh, all right, that's respectful. So it's just like actions speak way louder than words, man. And the thing I love about the era that we're in now, this is the first generation. We're the first generation of people that I feel like we have the luxury of healing. The people before us, our parents, I'm 45, my parents, they were just scratching and surviving. They were just trying to figure it out. They were just trying to make it. They were trying to keep some food on the table and a roof over their head. We are the first generation that has the luxury of actually healing. And I think that's a beautiful thing.
So true. There's a lot of role models emerging now on the internet. You think about like the Andrew Tates of the world and all of those conversations. And at the same time, what it is to be a man has become quite unclear in many respects, like gender roles. And there's a lot of, because of, we're in the post-Me Too movement where a lot of inappropriate behavior was called out. And it's funny, a guy came up to me in the gym, Lifetime gym, just down the road from here in Brooklyn yesterday, came up to me, 25-year-old kid wearing a Barcelona shirt, tapped me on the shoulder, said, I love your podcast, I listen to it a lot. One question, he goes, I'm 25 years old. He goes, where do I find male role models? And I remember I was with Will in the gym, and I just remember thinking, that's so interesting, because I'm getting that conversation over and over and over again. I think what he's actually saying is like, what is a man in 2014, and who do I model myself on? Because there is a lot of, if you go on like Twitter, there's a crowd of people that are saying Lamborghini, 17 women, Rolex, loads of money. And I'm not necessarily sure that's a great example either. And then you look at the stats around suicidality amongst men. In the UK, where I'm from, the single biggest thing that has the chance of killing you is suicide. If you're over the age of 18 and under the age of 45 as a man, it's yourself. And I just think, put all this in context, this sort of like looking for role models, masculinity is really unclear. We've called out men. Do we need to call them back in? What matters? Have you got a young son?
No, I got all girls. I got four daughters.
Four girls, damn.
Yeah, me and my wife got 4 daughters. I guess it just depends what you're trying to model. Like, we use that term role model, but what does the term role model mean? Because, you can only model yourself after what somebody shows you. You can only model, yourself off what somebody presents. So if you like that person's Lamborghini, if you like that Rolex, if you like the clothes that they got on, if you like their jewelry, then you're gonna say to yourself, okay, that's what I want. So that's what you're modeling. You're not necessarily modeling the man, You're modeling the man's things.
Yeah.
You know, you might as well be a mannequin. You might as well be looking up the mannequins. You know, it's hard to like really, you know, model yourself after somebody's, you know, personality, after somebody's morals, after somebody's values, after somebody's beliefs, because you don't necessarily know exactly what they are. And especially on social media, you just know what people present. So you got to be very careful of that. Like I would tell people, man, you know, yeah, if you admire something about a person, cool. You know, let that be like a guide for you, so to speak. It gives you it's like a flare going up in the air, so you kind of know which direction you may want to go, but you don't know that individual. The only individual that you will ever truly know is you.
What kind of man do you want to be? Are you trying to be with the therapy, with the work you've done, with your books, etc.? What kind of man are you trying to be?
A good man.
And what does that mean?
Just somebody who is who they say they are. Like, that's what I always tell people, and that's what I constantly tell myself. I want to be who I say I am. I want to be who, you know, if you see me saying something, if you see that I'm telling you that this is what I believe in, if I'm telling you this is my truth, I want you to know that that's exactly who I am. Like, you're not gonna, you know, hear something in the future and be like, oh my God, this dude had a whole other life going on, and you know, he had this going on over here and that going on over here, and nobody ever knew about it. No, I'm a faithful husband. You know, I am a learning father, and the reason I say learning is because there's no class on being a parent, none whatsoever. Anybody tells you that they got that figured out, they are lying. I got a 15-year-old, an 8-year-old, a 5-year-old, and a 2-year-old, and every single one of them, you know, challenged me and my wife in completely different ways. And there's been plenty of times when me and my wife sit around, you know, late at night or at dinner somewhere, or just sitting around talking in the bed, asking ourselves if we getting it right. So, like, there's no, you know, blueprint or no manual on how to be that. But I just want to be, I want to be the adult that I feel like I needed when I was a child. You know, I want to be present. I want to raise them out of love, which is very hard, especially being that I deal with, you know, really bad anxiety in a lot of ways. And I talk about parental paranoia a lot. And, you know, you just have to, man, you have to let go and let God. Like, I'm a faithful person because I have no choice but to be. You know, I'm an optimistic person because I have no choice but to be. Like, you know, the opposite of, you know, faithful is worry. The opposite of faithful is doubt. And like, you can't raise kids in that way because they got to live their own life. My 15-year-old, she wants to go hang out. I can't worry about what may happen, you know, at the mall. And, you know, you open up a newspaper and you see all types of crazy stuff happening in the world, and you see crazy things happening to other people's kids, and, you know, you just like, yo, I don't want my child to ever get caught up in anything like that. But, man, sadly, that's just not your call. And you just can't live life like that, man. You can't live life with fear. You got to live life with faith.
If you love the Diary of a CEO brand and you watch this channel, please do me a huge favor. Become part of the 15% of the viewers on this channel that have hit the subscribe button. It helps us tremendously, and the bigger the channel gets, the bigger the guests.